The rain came. The thunder rumbled, and Alex Eala's dream of a first WTA title was put on hold, but her message to the fans left everyone speechless. She didn't complain. She didn't panic. She did something that revealed exactly why she's become a national hero. Trailing 4-6, 2-1 in the DC Open final, with lightning flashing above Rock Creek Park and her momentum just starting to build, the 21-year-old Filipina walked off the court and delivered a response that captured the hearts of millions. While other players might have been frustrated, Eala showed the poise of a champion. What did she say that has the tennis world buzzing? The skies over Washington had been threatening all day. By noon, the clouds had won, and the moment Alex Eala had been waiting for her entire life suddenly hung in the balance. The $1.6 million DC Open final between Eala and Jessica Pegula was supposed to be the crowning moment of a historic week. The Filipina sensation had already conquered an Olympic gold medalist, a defending champion, a world number 10, and a 4-time Grand Slam winner just to reach this stage. Now, the world knew. 3 stood between her and a place in tennis history. But Mother Nature had other plans. The chaos began with the first weather report of the day. Scattered thunderstorms forced tournament officials to delay the final by 3 hours, pushing the scheduled noon start back to 3 p.m. local time. Filipinos who had traveled from across the East Coast, from New York, Virginia, Maryland, and beyond, crowded the gates of Rock Creek Park, waiting with Philippine flags and unmistakable hope. They had waited all week for this moment. They would wait a little longer. When play finally began, the humidity was suffocating. The conditions were brutal, with smothering heat and thick air that made every rally a battle of endurance. Both players struggled to find their rhythm, but it was Pegula, the top seed and 2019 DC Open champion, who made the steadier start. The first set was a war of attrition. Eala had the better of the early exchanges, at one point pushing Pegula to 40-15 to go up 4-3. She was on the verge of extending her advantage, and the crowd of Filipino supporters erupted. But the world number 3, who had already beaten Eala in a grueling 3-set semifinal at the 2025 Miami Open, knew exactly how to handle the Filipinas' left-handed patterns. Pegula responded like a champion. She won 4 straight points to erase Eala's lead and level the set at 4-4. Then, sensing the momentum had shifted, she immediately broke Eala's serve to seize control. The American served out the set with a love hold, taking the opening set 6-4 in 40 minutes. The numbers told the story of Pegula's early edge. She converted 2 of her 3 breakpoint opportunities, while Eala went just 1 for 4. Pegula also dominated on second serve, winning 7 of 13 such points, while Eala managed only 3 of 9. Despite the narrow scoreline, Pegula's ability to absorb Eala's left-handed patterns and redirect the ball early had given the world number 3 a clear edge in the most important exchanges. But champions don't fold, and Eala is a champion. The 21-year-old from Quezon City emerged with renewed purpose in the second set. She held her first 2 service games and moved ahead 2-1, not facing a single break point in the set. She won all 7 points played behind her first serve in the second set and 9 of 13 service points overall. It was a clear statement that she had found her rhythm and her confidence. The statistics painted a picture of a player who was just beginning to find her groove. That momentum improvement offered Eala a path back into the match before rain and nearby lightning interrupted her momentum. The players left Stadium Court after just 55 minutes of play, with neither woman having faced a break point in the second set. Eala had been building something, and the storm had stolen her chance to complete the comeback. But the rain refused to stop. At 3:57 a.m. in Manila, the skies opened again. Thunder rumbled in the distance. Lightning flashed near the Rock Creek Park Tennis Center. The players rushed off the court. The match had been underway for just 55 minutes. The delay stretched from minutes into hours. Tournament officials tried everything to dry the court, but the weather refused to cooperate. After more than 5 hours of intermittent heavy rain and storms, with scattered thunderstorms continuing through the evening, the decision was made at 9:06 p.m. The final would be postponed until Monday at noon. The prospect of a Monday final is slightly complicated for the DC Open, which deals with weather delays nearly every year. But summer storms rarely affect the final in Washington, and extending the tournament by a day puts players in a slight time crunch as the next event. The National Bank Open in Toronto already started Sunday. For Eala, the moment was surreal. She had arrived in Washington as a rising star ranked world number 28. She had stormed through a field of champions, defeating Zheng Qinwen, Leylah Fernandez, Elina Svitolina, and Naomi Osaka to reach her first WTA 500 final. She had stood toe-to-toe with the world no. 3, but now the weather had forced her to wait. The storm had changed everything. But for Eala, the fight was far from over. She had already conquered 4 champions to get here. The rain had tried to deny her, but history, like the weather, can't be controlled, and when play resumes, Eala will be ready. The first set had slipped away. The world number 3 had seized control, and for a moment, the dream of a title felt like it was slipping away from Alex Eala. But then, something shifted, and the Filipina sensation began to fight back. After dropping a tight first set 6-4 to Jessica Pegula, Eala refused to let the match slip away. The American had converted 2 of her 3 breakpoint opportunities, while Eala went just 1 for 4. Pegula also dominated on second serve, winning 7 of 13 such points, while Eala managed only 3 of 9. Despite the narrow scoreline, Pegula's ability to absorb Eala's left-handed patterns and redirect the ball early had given the world number 3 a clear edge in the most important exchanges. But champions don't fold. Eala is a champion. The 21-year-old from Quezon City emerged with renewed purpose in the second set. She held her first 2 service games and moved ahead 2-1, not facing a single breakpoint in the set. She won all 7 points, played behind her first serve in the second set, and 9 of 13 service points overall. It was a clear statement that she had found her rhythm and her confidence. The statistics painted a picture of a player who was just beginning to find her groove. That momentum improvement offered Eala a path back into the match before rain and nearby lightning interrupted her momentum. The players left Stadium Court after just 55 minutes of play, with neither woman having faced a break point in the second set. Eala had been building something, and the storm had stolen her chance to complete the comeback. The Filipina sensation had already proven she could fight back from deficits. Just days earlier, she had been down 1-5 in the second set against defending champion Leylah Fernandez, before reeling off 6 straight games to complete a stunning 6-2, 7-6 victory citation 3. She had also come back from a set and a breakdown against Olympic gold medalist Zheng Qinwen in the first round. The fighting spirit that had carried her through 4 champions was still there, waiting to be unleashed. Eala had every reason to believe she could complete the comeback. "I think I just have to trust myself," Eala had said before the final. "I'm in the final for a reason. Jessica is also in the final for a reason, so I think it's going to be a really good match." She had already proved she belonged on this stage. Now she had to prove she could finish the job. The rain had given her time to reset, regroup, and refocus. When play resumed, she would have another chance to show the world what she was made of. And if her track record was any indication, she would be ready. The rain was still falling. The thunder was still rumbling. And Alex Eala sat in the locker room, waiting for the storm to pass. But unlike most players, she wasn't frustrated. She had been here before. Eala had spoken openly in the past about how she handles the mental challenge of rain delays. The waiting, the uncertainty, the loss of momentum. "You never fully let go," she had said about staying locked in during interruptions, even while trying to rest. It was a mindset that had served her well throughout her career, and it was about to be tested again in the biggest match of her life. The storm had come at a crucial moment. Eala was just beginning to find her rhythm against Pegula. After dropping a tight first set 6-4, she had responded with renewed purpose. She held her first 2 service games and moved ahead 2-1, not facing a single break point in the second set. She won all 7 points played behind her first serve in the set and 9 of 13 service points overall. The momentum was shifting, but the rain had stolen her chance to complete the comeback. At 3:57 a.m. in Manila time, the skies opened and forced the players off the court. The match had been underway for just 55 minutes. Neither woman had faced a breakpoint in the second set. The title was still up for grabs, and the delay had given Eala time to reset, regroup, and refocus. "One more match, I guess," she had said after her semifinal victory over Naomi Osaka, her voice carrying a mix of exhaustion and excitement. "I'm super happy, but I think I played really well. It's such a meaningful match against a great player." The delays had tested her patience, but Eala had not let them break her concentration. She had already conquered 4 champions to get to this final. Her victory over Osaka had come in just 76 minutes, as she kept the 4-time Grand Slam winner off balance with her clean ball striking and consistent depth citation. 3-8. She had been asked before the final whether she was ready for a third clash against the weather. Her response was simple. "I think I just have to trust myself," Eala said. "I'm in the final for a reason. Jessica is also in the final for a reason, so I think it's going to be a really good match." What would you do if the biggest moment of your career was put on hold by the weather? For Alex Eala, the answer was simple. She would stay patient, stay focused, and when play resumed, she would be ready to complete the greatest week of her career. The rain had forced her off the court. The momentum she had been building had been stolen. But when Alex Eala finally spoke, her message wasn't about frustration or bad luck. It was about gratitude. After the final was suspended, with Pegula leading 6-4, 1-2, Eala could have been forgiven for feeling sorry for herself. She had fought back from a tough first set, found her rhythm in the second, and was just beginning to turn the match in her favor when the skies opened. The delay meant another night of waiting, another day of uncertainty, another chance for the pressure to build. But Eala chose a different path. Speaking to the media after the suspension was announced, the 21-year-old Filipina didn't dwell on the disruption. She didn't complain about the conditions. Instead, she talked about the fans who had waited hours in the rain to support her. The same fans who had packed Rock Creek Park, who had waved Philippine flags, who had chanted her name until their voices gave out. "I'm really grateful for everyone who supports me," she had said earlier in the tournament, and those words had never rung truer. For Eala, the weather delays weren't just an inconvenience. They were a reminder of everything she was fighting for. The fans who had traveled from across the East Coast, who had taken time off work, who had booked hotels, who had waited hours in the rain. They were the reason she had this platform. Her message to them was simple: thank you. And when play resumes, she promised to give them everything she had. Because she knew that the rain couldn't stop her momentum, only she could do that. And she had no intention of stopping. The Filipino community had already proven they would wait as long as it took. Tournament chairman Mark Ein had revealed that over 80% of ticket inquiries were about Eala. The demand had been unprecedented. And the fans had delivered, turning Rock Creek Park into a sea of Philippine flags. Eala understood exactly what that meant. "I think it's incredible," she had said when told about the ticket numbers. "It makes me feel loved. And it makes it more exciting to play here." Now, with the final hanging in the balance, she was determined to give them a reason to keep believing. The rain has finally stopped, the courts are dry, and for Alex Eala, everything she has worked for comes down to this one moment. But the stakes go far beyond a single match. The $1.6 million DC Open final against Jessica Pegula represents the culmination of a week that has already rewritten Philippine tennis history. The 21-year-old from Quezon City has conquered an Olympic gold medalist, a defending champion, a world no. 10, and a 4-time Grand Slam winner just to reach this stage citation 7-8. Now, the world number 3 stands between her and a place in tennis history. The financial rewards are staggering. A victory against Pegula would give Eala her first ever WTA Tour level title, making her the first Filipina in history to capture a WTA 500 singles crown citation 7-9. The champion's purse of $252,000, roughly $15.4 million, would be the largest single paycheck of her career. But the financial rewards are just the beginning. The ranking implications are even more significant. Eala has already climbed to a career-high live ranking of world number 24 after reaching her first WTA 500 final citation. A championship victory would add another 500 points, propelling her to world number 20, a territory that seemed impossible just months ago. Citation 2-8. The 21-year-old would eclipse established stars like Madison Keys and Elise Mertens, but standing in her way is a player who knows exactly what it takes to win. Jessica Pegula, the world know. 3. Won her first career WTA title at this very tournament in 2019. Citation 1-4. She is bidding for her second Washington crown and the 12th WTA singles title of her career. The American holds the edge in their head-to-head record, having defeated Eala in a thrilling 3-set semifinal at the 2025 Miami Open. Now, with everything on the line, Eala's message to the fans is clear. "I'm in the final for a reason," she said before the match. "I just have to trust myself." What would you do if everything you'd ever worked for was finally within reach? For Alex Eala, the answer is simple. She would keep fighting, keep believing, and keep proving that the girl with ruffled socks and light-up shoes can conquer the world. Because she knows that the $252,000 prize, the 500 ranking points, and a place in tennis history are all within reach. And she's ready to grab them.